So, have you ever heard this phrase from somebody where they say, "No one ever sees the real me"? I used to get this phrase from girlfriends a lot when I was dating, and I could also identify with this problem as well, feeling tired of never being understood, and having this genuine desire to be seen and heard, and dare I say it, to be loved. Love for who you actually are without all the need to impress anyone, without the need to convince them, just to be seen accurately and liked for being who you are. But I have to admit, the first response from me to hearing "I want to be seen and heard" from my exes was, well, do you actually show and speak the real you to people at all? Because I know I hadn't been doing it for a long time. I know I was to blame for a lot of it. The truth is, most times, we just don't show people ourselves unmasked. Life seems to be a repetition of us saying the same safe things to others to avoid arguments and weird looks. We do the right things and say the polite phrases even if we don't mean them. This formalized version of ourselves in public life, this polite performance we've acted out for most of our lives, just to get along and to fit in, has its utility. It's very useful and it works, but after a lifetime of doing it, we don't know how to be anyone else but the act we've rehearsed. And we can do it really well. Put another way, you find it hard to just relax and talk to someone at the supermarket or on a date because you're always on performance mode around everybody. We communicate this agreeable version of ourselves to stay in our little tribes, call a few people friends, and even if they're not really, we act like cookie-cutter sons and daughters, so our parents are proud of us, and we're compliant workers, so we have a job to go to tomorrow. We spin all these good boy plates so our world keeps spinning and everything doesn't fall apart. And we feel like we can't stop. We shouldn't stop. Why? Well, because it's working. Even if everything feels off, it's working. And we're logical about it too. We say to ourselves, what's the big deal in telling people what they want to hear? Does it really matter? I mean, it can't be about me all the time, right? I'm not that selfish. And this is true. You can't turn up to someone's birthday party and make it all about you, but I would also ask many of us out there that prefer being on our own and are looking for a more meaningful and substantive relationship in our lives. When is it ever about you around other people? Even the closest people in our lives, think about it. When do you use your words instead of the rehearsed ones that work around them? Have you ever made it about you with even one person? Because this public version of us is not the private version of us that we feel most comfortable with. It is the us that stays safe amongst those we don't fully trust. We turn up for a party just to make an appearance because we've blown off the last few invites until we've stayed a few hours, listened to everyone talk like the news talks about anything, then say, well, it's getting late, I better go, and we get home, lock the door behind us, and breathe again. And that exhale is the person that we'd like to be more often, especially around others if we have the courage to do it. We'd enjoy spending time around others more if we did this, if we could be ourselves. And we'd like to do it because you don't have to think about how we're supposed to act all the time or what we're supposed to say. You can just let go, know that you have nothing to be ashamed of, and enjoy yourself. Why we all want to be seen for who we are is because if they like that person, the real us that we're scared of showing, if they like that person, if they see that person, then you know without a doubt that the relationship is a real one. It's not about how you won them over or got away with something or succeeded through tactics. And by the way, my theory is that this bland mode of being an agreeable human being around people just to be in a relationship with them is why we feel so alone in life. This is what I think anyway. Despite how rich our social media interactions are, how many followers we have, we've honed the perfect public version of us for everyone to approve of, even to our families, because it's easier. It's easier for everyone to talk the same way about everything without thinking. But ask yourself, does anyone in your family even know the real you? Do they know your values? Do they really know what you believe in, what you die for? Have you ever told anyone? Probably not. Because I know I didn't for a while. Most people still don't. I kept my opinions to myself for a very, very long time. And the only public ones I uttered were the ones that made others smile and nod and didn't cause any problems. We just turn up the same way, over and over again. Shake hands verbally with grandma with a well-rehearsed salad of words like, "How are you?" And she says, "Fine, how are you?" instead of having an actual conversation with dear old grandma, because one day grandma will die and you'll wish you had an actual conversation with her instead of all the same empty handshakes you've been having with her. And it doesn't need to be deep and meaningful either. Just honest, because you and grandma deserve it. And I think that honesty is something we're all craving today. So much of the online world is performative. And the worrying thing is we don't even seem to care if it's real anymore, as long as it's entertaining and we're not alone. We don't care about the quality of those interactions or those relationships. But I know one thing. I'm tired of the performance. I see it on YouTube, the same intros and the same outros to every video that promises you a solution to all of your problems. 3-step this, click the like button and all of that. But newsflash, we don't need more solutions. We need human conversations, real people, so we don't feel so goddamn alone anymore. For most of us, likes online feel like love. So we just take what we can get. And sadly, many of us do it in real life too. We just take what we can get on dates and interactions with family and friends and perform our way through as well. We'll just take what we can get, even if we have to fake it. You know, sometimes I think, no wonder socializing seems so uninteresting now, and why being alone feels infinitely more interesting and honest. It's because you're more free to be you when you're on your own now. You're not a deer in headlights having to perform compared to the curated version you have to do out there with people that judge you all the time. Speaking for myself, it gets tiring pretending to care that Bernadette's kids prefer Mars bars to Snickers. I don't care. But I'll smile and say nothing about Bernadette's kids because I know that Bernadette doesn't care whether I prefer this camera over another one. I think our ability to form real concepts out in reality with people in our personal life suffers, especially trying to find romantic connections with people. It suffers. The more we say, "Oh my God, love your dress," because the less those words actually mean when we're just performing them, when we don't mean them. And you should mean it when you say it, especially in that insufferable high-pitched squeal that people do it in. Because the more we get away with faking it with strangers in this way, the more we fake our love with people, the more we start to think we can manufacture romantic relationships with anyone we find attractive, because we're just used to faking it to make it. Everyone's playing the same fake game. And that's a mistake I thought too for a long time, because you just can't say the right things to anyone and create compatibility. The compatibility must already be there, and your honesty, your ability to be seen accurately through honesty, reveals the compatibility. The compatibility is either there or not. But you have to be honest. Well, look, you can get a fun holiday experience with someone, get them into bed, but you won't find anyone that feels like home to you, that you trust, that you want to stay with. And that's what most of us would prefer. Actually, that reminds me, you know why I think we want to get out of bad relationships so much? It's because we want to feel free and like ourselves again, like we did just before we started performing in those failed relationships. When we're on our own, we feel more genuine. We intentionally fake our way and perform our way through relationships and then complain about it. No wonder we want to be alone and single again. No wonder we let relationships die because they're too hard work and we don't know what to do. You can't make an intimate relationship work by saying the right things. You can't just follow the formula of 1, 2, 3 Yahtzee and find love. You can't manufacture it that way. Whatever the dating coaches might promise, you can't. You can only say the things that are true for you, and a similar person will respond to that. And that's all we can do. However rare it is to come by that person. But I'll tell you one thing, the chances get better when you take yourself off the performance table, when you stop performing. Then the slim chance of finding compatibility is easier than if you just are performing all the time. So, how do we get better at showing people who we are? There's a saying, practice makes perfect, but we never practice the real us very much, do we? Not as much as we should anyway. Oh, sure, we'll let off steam in the comment section under our anonymous avatars now and then, and we vent a little, but that's not the same thing as letting someone in and feeling good at being understood. Very, very different. We need to practice saying our perspectives more often. Now, scratch that. We have the right to say our perspectives by default. Say it beautifully, say it directly, with your own simple honesty. Let the other person know exactly who you are, and you'll feel good about it too. You won't feel guilty or ashamed. Look, I know we get stuck in boring conversations sometimes in groups and barbecues and at work. And it's normal to be polite and agreeable. It's actually the sign of a well-adjusted person, but that doesn't mean being fake. If you don't know what to say in dull chit-chat, just listen, smile, and give simple responses if asked about your opinion on something. Even if that response is, I don't know. But if you get asked a genuine question about something that matters to you, that you're excited about perhaps, then say it, please. Say it from your honest point of view, especially if you have a one-on-one conversation with somebody. What have you got to lose, really? If anything, just look at it as practicing the muscle of being honest so you can gain some confidence and be proud of yourself, because you should get better at it. Here's something I've tried before. I've asked somebody, a stranger, or if I'm at a function where I don't know anybody, I've asked somebody their opinion on a dilemma on something I find interesting. And then I ask them their opinion about it. And then I listen. Don't wait to talk, but be interested in their perspective. Lead them into a conversation that might be meaningful and interesting for you. You never know. You might see their face light up because someone finally asked them something cool and interesting at an otherwise boring party. Anyway, that's all I got. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.